I have reviewed, and let me make a motion to accept the check detail as presented.
Okay. Second
on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And let me make a motion to approve the cash flow statements as presented.
Second again.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so I sent out the 2023 annual project review. So at the end of every year, we get data in from each company that we have a pilot with that includes jobs and the other metrics that we use. Out of 14, 2 are below the metrics, but these are the 2 that we've been tracking since day one. So Peckham Asphalt has 6 reported jobs instead of 7. And then Empire Merchants North has 304 instead of the 352. But they are still in the hiring phase. They've added that third shift.
These are jobs that they just haven't filled. They're
Correct. That they,
vacancies, not head count. is what
Right.
we're talking about.
yes.
Yeah. Right. So that's not unusual.
Yeah.
So that's the annual report. Once we accept it, I post it to the website and send it to the ABO.
Mhm.
So I just need a motion to accept the annual project
Okay.
review, unless anybody else has any questions on it.
I'll make the motion to accept the project review.
Need a second on that?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So Hunter Mountain Ski Lift, we accepted the application. I had the public hearing. Paul's prepared the final lease resolution, and attached to that is our finding statement. At the public hearing, there were no comments received. I recommend the project be approved for just the sales and use tax.
You need a motion for that today?
Yeah, we have a resolution basically for that. And it does 4 things. And I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. And this is similar or identical to what we did in 18 for the last lift on Hunter Mountain. I think it's west. And the issue is we're concurring with the town's negative declaration is point 1. We approve the finding statement, point 2. We approve the execution and delivery of the straight lease documents for the sales tax exemption only. And that's what we do. And that's the final lease resolution in front of them.
Does anybody have any questions on the resolution before we put it up and we can vote? So that said, I need a motion to approve the resolution, sales tax exemption. Or another motion.
Second. I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'll just send around. There's tabs and minutes to be signed. Thank you. Okay, so Caro Extension Infrastructure Update. Been working closely with Delaware Engineering. The construction should be complete within the next couple of weeks. Water and sewer is being tested, and then Delaware will do the finalized certification, send it off to the Department of Health and DEC before they place it online. We'll receive as-built drawings once everything is completed for our files. Any questions on Caro? Okay, moving on to Champlain Hudson Power Express. As if you drive by any railroad, they're still under construction. Renee has been meeting with the towns and villages on the guidelines for the host fee. So by 2026, when the host fees start coming into the towns and villages, we'll have these guidelines of what that should be used for. The next step is each town and village is having 2 representatives come and meet with us just to make sure that everybody's on the same page regarding that infrastructure usage. So that'll be coming up soon. Renee hopes to have that all wrapped up by this fall.
I occasionally see down off of Taylor's Farm is in Athens and by the prison, they've got miles of that track map they put down. There's got to be $1 million in just on that.
Oh, yeah.
I kid you not. That's
It
wildly
last
expensive.
reported was a $6 billion project.
Yeah.
So
It's, yeah, it
It's
is.
like a roadway of map.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
not cheap.
No, I'm thinking do any local.
Spell
Well,
but I can't.
that's okay.
Okay,
It
because
might be the next
Is
page.
that what those?
here, you look and see if it's in there. I only found 3 places to.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe right,
It's a big
organize it.
Nice to see it. Yeah, there you go.
You wait, here's something here, wait.
Okay. Yeah, it's where,
Yeah.
let's write
Yeah,
signs.
they're either here
Oh,
to
okay.
That's okay.
Trench it or
Thank you.
All right.
directional drill under certain locations.
So are there any other questions on Champlain Hudson? We're good? Okay. So New Athens Generating Companies, we've been working on the strategic plan. Eric, Renee and I met with Steve Cole. So we'll be working with a representative from Athens Gen on, their extra land base, other economic development possibilities over there. And I'll keep the board updated on any outcome from that strategic plan. Any questions?
Yeah, they're still kind of just sorting things out there
Right.
with the transition of everything, so.
And that closing took place, right, Paul, with Athens Gen? So there are new owners over there, so
Yeah.
it's all closed. Okay, so this is our big push for this summer is the shovel ready initiative. We've been discussing the Y lot in the Green Business and Tech Park. That's the 10 acres. I need an approval to start the wetland investigations. That's Norbert Quinzer. We've used him the last 20 years. His proposal is to be about under 1,500 to do wetland mitigation,
Do you need an approval for?
For the
a certain
spending.
Budget or?
just for the budget.
What is it, the wetlands, is that wooded space kind of between?
Yeah. Well, it'll be looking at the whole 10 acres and seeing how much we can build out. Further in the discussion, C is what land we would mitigate. So say there's 3 acres that we have to mitigate. We usually have a land bank that we offset so that we can actually develop the major portion of the site. So this would just designate what is,
Basically mapping it, what we
Yeah,
can, what's
mapping it.
buildable, what is not.
and Renee has been successful in the past getting the most out of all of our parcels.
So we need a motion to approve,
Is there a budget set forth, or what is there a rate?
1,500.
I don't want to jump forward, but what's the 90,000 right after it?
That's archaeology. So that would be our
Yeah.
phase 3. So to get the site shovel ready, these are the 2 things that we have to do is the wetlands and the archaeology on the site. We've done archaeology obviously on the entire rest of Green Business so that it's shovel ready. That would make this site shovel ready. So we do phase 1, phase 2, which are already completed on this site. Phase 3 is the cultural resource plan. And if we find anything, what's the next steps? So we've used Ed Curtin for the
How many
entire
acres
park.
we talking here?
It's about 10 acres.
so let's start with the motion on the 1,500 for.
Yep.
That, so I need a motion for that. I think actually Fred made one.
Okay.
I need a second.
Second.
All those in
Thank you.
favor? Aye.
We're not moving forward yet on the archaeology because we have to file a permit with Army Corps. So I just wanted to make you aware that is the next step is the 90,000. But I'll send out a whole proposal from Ed Curtin so you see all the steps that
Is
we
that
take.
capped at the 90? Is that?
No.
or is there-
So
there's a
90,000,
scenario where you could find
right, so if you
the
find
city
human
of-
remains, then there's a whole nother process, but that site, wasn't really, the main portion, the 140 acres that we already did, they found, where it was a campsite. So it was like, used for, wintering. It wasn't a permanent location. They didn't find anything like that. And we did recover, I want to say like 200 boxes of shards from other parts of Green Business and Kalkberg. So that's kind of what we're expecting. Maybe tools, sharpening tools, things like that. But we do recover those, and that's why it was more expensive than just doing trenches. Okay, so moving on to other development parcels, we're looking at another maybe 60 acres. Eric and Renee and I are going to be setting up a meeting with the owner of that parcel. And until we meet with them, we're not going to discuss that, but it'll be maybe a private-public partnership. So we had looked at maybe doing something with another owner over in Caro. I think this would be a good jumping off point of what the IDA can do and what the private owner can invest in the land, and then coming up with an agreement or a contract of how much money we put into it, how much each acre would be, and then what we can recoup at the end use. But after the meeting with that owner, we'll, maybe sign an option agreement, and then we can go public with that parcel. Same thing, Ed Curtin, phase 1 on 60 acres would be 36,000. So it's less for phase 1 and 2 because it's less in depth than phase 3. But we're on hold for now. And then Renee is also researching an adjacent land for development as well. So it would be more than 60 acres. But we're waiting to hear back from that owner. And then this all kind of ties into the comprehensive plan with Coxsackie Town and Village of what development do they need, they want to see, whether it's housing or more industrial. And that's what I have on the other parcel. So part C, I do have some maps so you can see where it's located, but this is up near the thruway. The Warren parcel is 103 acre parcel that we did have an option from like 2004 to 2016. This is kind of one of the parcels that was in play when we were looking at doing a water park off of Exit 21. And that went to the wayside, not doing a water park at Exit 21. For the record, for the minutes. This would be, when we did the wetland mapping on this parcel, it is very wet. So has best and highest use for this parcel, it would be to use it for wetland mitigation.
We did mapping already there, right?
Yeah,
And there was
we
never
actually
any
started
archaeology
it.
done there.
No archaeology, but this would be undisturbed then, so we wouldn't have to do archaeology. This would just be something that we put in our bank, similar
Right.
to the property over on 81.
Do you know what was usable out of that with mapping?
Out of 103,
Yeah.
I can email the board the map.
So if we use that for mitigation, just say 20 was usable. Are we still able to keep, or are we talking taking that full 103 off the table? Can we use
This parcel's kind of landlocked, which Renee said isn't, like
yeah, I know the piece.
unattainable
Yeah.
or unmountable. Like we could try to get to those acres if there was something we could carve out.
Yep.
But we're thinking we would use this to offset the Y lot,
Mhm.
the other development
Right.
lot. The county has a lot that they want to develop. We could offset that using credits,
Yeah.
so make some money back
Mhm.
on the purchase price, and then have some in the bank for anybody else who approaches us that needs wetland
And-
mitigation offset.
And then if just say we use the whole 103 for mitigation, what does that limit its, when I say use, could it be maybe like hiking trails there?
Well, it
or
would
any
be,
public-
and
Is that
these would be.
allowed in the mitigation, or is it like you can't do anything?
It would be up to the Green Land Trust. So same as our land behind the business parks, there are walking trails
Mhm.
back there, birders go back there all the
Right.
time. So it would be whatever the
That's-
land trust restricts it
Because
to.
that makes it go down easier for me.
Yeah,
Because
sometimes
We don't
it's
take 100
hunting.
acres and throw it in the garbage can that nobody,
It's not garbage can, it's offsetting,
It
offsetting.
can never be,
Mitigation.
it can be used for some recreation.
Right, so
I
this,
like that one.
it definitely could. It would be up to the Green Land Trust to decide who goes on the property and what their final usage would be for, but it would be
Okay, so it's the land.
so that
trust.
we
Okay.
could develop our other
No, I get it
sites
with
to the
that. No, I
fullest.
get it.
This is probably you should go Subaru route.
Well, it's near there, yeah, yeah. This is the McGowan
It
Trust
actually butts up
parcel.
against it, right?
So I think on that map, it might say the little names of the other ones or no? It's surrounded by New Baltimore Sunny Farms. Things like that. So
Yeah.
there's several properties that were in
Yeah.
play when we were looking at doing the water park, and this is just one parcel of it.
Is this the parcel that we could get to from the back of the?
No, actually, so if you look at the
Circle.
map, our cul-de-sac is where Kalkberg is, there's this little loop,
Yeah, that's the.
and then we could cross over to Subaru from there,
Yeah, it's right.
but it's next to that.
All right, so the Subaru lots in between that.
Yeah, so they were thinking about doing a Subaru facility back in 2000 maybe.
okay.
Way before, yeah.
Way before us, way before me,
It was-
not way before, a couple years before me.
This is the
So the
piece,
name is still stuck.
this is like Van Griffin Lane or. They call it
There
right
is a
off
dead
there.
lane, yep.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of trucks lined up there today.
Yeah, it could be part of the Champlain Hudson Power
Yeah, I
Express.
saw like 6
Yeah.
trucks. Yeah.
Um,
Sort would be
Yeah,
to
do you
the
see the
south of
little
that.
round?
Right, so, Empire Merchants North is,
It's- Yeah, this is,
okay,
yeah, this is the Warren piece, and then this is the, what they call the Subaru
Yeah.
piece.
There's a lot in the house and the pizza and we're seeing.
so
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
own all
yeah.
of this?
No, no,
Oh,
no,
we
no.
have options on it?
Nope.
Right.
Just
Yeah, we're just, that's
the
what.
light orange. The other parcels were in play when we were looking at the water park. So that's why I have this mapping, but that 103 acres is the one that we're talking about, just for wetland mitigation and habitat also.
This one also that was also involved in the potential waste management dumping site.
It might have been,
That was all
right, and I think the town blocked that.
Yeah, it's pretty visible.
This stuff here is not the park, the yellow down here.
That is part of our park. So, but I just ignore the dark orange. It was just, that's how it was highlighted.
Oh, okay, cause that's
Yeah.
what's confused. I
I'm
was
sorry.
like, do we get all, is that all
Nope,
ours?
nope. Just
Just that one.
Kalkberg
Okay.
is, and it was, when we were looking at it back in 2016, we were trying to tie it all together.
Mhm, I see.
And I think they just built a new road into the site for the.
It's a temporary road just for
Yeah.
Champlain Hudson, but it's not a permanent.
But I mean, it's a fairly substantial road.
You really don't have.
It was always that little farm road, but now it's.
For this one, it would be, right now, that parcel's listed at 1.8 million, or they just lowered it to 1.8 million. So we approached their broker offering our original DL, so the option was originally for 500,000. We made 119,000 in option payments from 2004 to 2016, and then we kind of walked away from the deal. So we said we would be interested in the parcel if we could use half of our option payments towards a purchase price at the 500,000. So we're offering them 441,000 for this parcel. And like I said, we could get money back if we did credits to other developers that need wetland mitigation.
Right.
And it would offset for the Y and other development across the street.
And how does $5,000 an acre compare to other property we've given to the land trust? Is that in the ballpark?
Yes, so our original, try to remember back to 2002, Greene Business Park, we bought, I want to say it was $1 million for 144, and then we donated about 200 acres. So off the top of my head, I can't do the calculations, but I want to say
The
it's
other 100 acres we use for our own purposes, so.
correct, and we recouped our money on that. So same thing. If we spend 441,000 on the wetland mitigation, it goes into our pro forma. So whatever we sell per acre, whether it's part of the Y lot, it'll be offset within that pro forma. So we'd have to sell per acre or make a deal if that's part of the housing
It's
deal.
much more valuable on the back end for us at some other site, put it that way,
Yeah.
where the value
Right.
comes in.
And I like that we really are on the cutting edge with our land trust, trying to do the right thing.
Right.
And, that
Well-
certainly is worthy.
Right, for Green Business in Kalkberg, it was for every acre we disturbed, we preserved 2 acres. So that was definitely, Renee's forethought was definitely, like you said, cutting edge. Not many
Yeah.
are doing that.
And that
Preservation.
goes just back to my original, I'd really like to talk to the land trust on this if we go farther, because I'd like to talk to them about, like I said, usage, they're doing something with it versus
Yep.
nothing.
I mean, same thing with Green Business. We're
And
always
we
looking,
should.
to do more walking trails in the back or build that bridge from Anderson parcel. It's just, dipping into what our funds provide or what companies coming in that would actually contribute to those kind of walking trails.
Maybe that's where we can do our artifact kiosks
Yeah.
and offset more findings. other
Very good.
places. Yeah, right? Yeah, something.
With the Warren.
Yeah.
Parcel, I'm just asking the board for permission to spend the 441,000 on the 103 acres if we move forward.
Is that up to, or is that a budget number right now, or we're?
That's what we offered.
Okay,
441, plus the closing costs and legal fees.
Does anybody have any questions on that or thoughts before we put that forward to a vote?
What are our assets? I mean, how much will it impact the cash position that we have?
So we have, we could do a cash closing.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
So right now, in our parks, we have 2.6 million. At the end of 2024. So that's if I spend out my entire budget, infrastructure, legal, Athens Gen planning. So if I spend everything out, right now, we have, let's see, what do I have? Yeah, so it would bring us down to about 2.2 million in parks still at the end of the year.
Okay.
Plus we have pilot money, which,
Yeah, I
you know,
think it's
this
a
is
good
part of
investment.
wetland mitigation.
My feeling is good investment because of being able to use the offsets.
Yeah.
Well, can I just take a
Yeah,
half a step back?
Yeah.
How much acreage do we already have in the bank to offset the wide parcel or others? In other words, we've been accumulating acreage.
Well, right now, we've already used the parcel that's across from the you know, where the YMCA is actually located. Across from that, that's already used. We have one other parcel, I can't think of the name of it, which I think we might have maybe 20 acres left in there that we could use for wetland mitigation, but it wouldn't offset our larger developments.
So essentially, if we disturbed 10 acres, that 20 acres would be available. I kind of recall Renee talking about how minimal amount of wetlands we really can disturb. You know, in other words, usually well under an acre, I think, for most developments, am I right?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, and sometimes we're doing like a 2-to-1 offset to get approval, so we're,
Right.
you know, we're doing a generous offset.
Right. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I guess what I'm wondering is before I spend future money, how much do I already have in my pocket
Right.
for this type of offset?
It
And if
wouldn't
we
be
only have
enough.
20
Yeah.
acres,
Yeah, not much.
Wouldn't be enough for what we're thinking about for industrial development. Maybe for the housing project, but that's it.
The other, 2-3 sites we're looking at, we'll probably actually, when you think about it, we'll probably consume this up in just those, if
It
those
would.
couple other potential sites happen.
so there's a fair amount of wetland mitigation there too, and habitat mitigation.
It could be, I think it's hard to say what we're gonna end up with, but even at the Y, you don't know out of 10 what we're gonna end up with there. Could be,
Well, when we buy it, do we have to automatically transfer it to
No,
the Greenland
We
Trust?
hold on to it
So we
until we
just-
use what we need, and
Right.
then we'll transfer the asset to the Greenland Trust, so they
Right.
maintain it, just like they do with the other
Right.
acreage.
But we don't have to give it to the Greenland Trust until we decide we need the offsets, right? So then it's just sitting there as another parcel, which could be
Yeah.
developed if it wasn't.
And the only reason I'm bringing this up, because I know that parcel and, you know, how critical Renee was of it. Because, you know, at the end of the day, there wasn't a lot of usable on it.
It was
Right.
gonna be tough to make it
And
work.
I think that leads to your question, you know, is there 20 acres we could use?
Right.
Is there anything usable,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
then if we all use it, then just if we can use it for something public benefit type scenario.
you know, yeah, because we're not gonna get infrastructure.
I track a parcel, like all the land we do own, like a green business in Kaufberg, so I can send you that spreadsheet of what we've used, what we've offset, what we have left.
I mean, that would be if I was making a private investment, that would be my due diligence I would do.
Plus, it
To
doesn't
make
go
sure I'm
back,
not, you know, throwing good money,
right?
but do
So,
I need to throw it? Because
like I said, the Greene County is working on a parcel, they're gonna need an offset so they can purchase credits from us, and then it doesn't go bad, it'll just stay in our bank.
Mhm.
I said, we sell. Can't get the business part out of my head. Do we sell credits for more than we buy them for? So in other words, if we're paying 5,000 an acre, do we sell
Well, yeah,
credits at
because Renee
10,000 an acre?
Well, it might have to improve,
I mean,
so
I'm
yeah,
not looking to beat up Sean Road here,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, we
No.
need our, at minimum, our cost
Little bit.
plus, right.
right.
plus loss opportunity capital,
Excuse me.
okay?
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yeah.
It's the cost plus the loss opportunity capital, so we have to get something plus cost. That makes sense.
I can support it if you really think that we don't have enough in the bank, in the land bank. You know, if we had it
At present,
enough, I would tell you that I'm not so sure.
Right now, we are in such good condition that it would be my recommendation to go ahead and buy it and keep it at this price, especially because, you know, we're whittling them down to our past option amount, you know, and this would be the highest and best use for that right now. We don't see any other development being able to be built on how wet that parcel is. And we did those wetland mappings back in 2010, maybe, so.
Worse now.
Right, they haven't been maintained, or none of the land has been changed, so it could be worse now.
yeah, I think keep the price is good, number one, if you give it this price, and then number two, we're, at the present moment, we're fine, but this is for future
Right.
projects. If any one of these 2-3 things we're looking at
Yeah.
go the next step farther, we'll need something more than what we have.
I can't imagine there's a lot of people rushing to look at this at 1.8 million.
No,
I would think that they probably got one set of eyes on this and it's ours.
well, at that price point, you're gonna run up against the same thing anybody else, where they're gonna go out there and go, if you got, 80% of this is unusable.
Yeah, what is
What is that?
developable,
They're
how to
offering
access the
what's-
land,
We're offering this time out to $500,000 on 1.8 million ask.
441,000.
Which was our original, what we kind of originally agreed to on the property. Obviously,
Originally back when?
2016, we let the option
Oh.
expire,
Okay.
and we had invested already 119, so we're asking for half that credit, which is about 59,000,
decision.
to still be applied to the purchase price.
April, is that property in a trust now, or is it?
Yeah, the McGowan Trust.
Okay, and do you know who makes the decision on it? Or is it-
There's a couple people, so right now, we're just working with the broker, and he's presenting. He also, the broker did research on what other vacant land is sold for in that area. So this is, we're not lowballing, I don't think.
No, I
This
think
is
we-
comparable to
yeah,
what other
okay.
vacant land is being
Yeah, I
sold
agree.
for in that
And then-
area.
With what the site is, I mean,
Mhm.
that's been recommended.
Right.
Does anybody have anything else they want to add before we put it to the floor? So I need a motion for April to proceed with the offer presented.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
Thank
Those
you.
in favor?
Aye.
And just moving on to the last part of the shovel-ready initiative, housing has been, on my radar for a couple of years. I've been working with the county. They put out the workforce report and the senior report. Senior report is even more gloomy than the workforce. So we have not adopted a policy or moved forward on a pilot. We were kind of waiting to see what we did with the Y lot. That'll be probably a year out with wetland and archaeology and getting it shovel ready. But we have had actually a couple discussions with different developers, 3 now. But a well-known developer has approached us about doing a project with them in Coxsackie. So as I get more information, I'll present it to the board, but it's not public yet. So it would be for workforce attainable, not affordable, attainable housing.
And that's on the Y,
No,
or
this would
they've
be
got
a totally
some of it,
separate
they've got
parcel
it
that they
on-
would
okay.
own separately, but it would be another kind of like, how can we partner with them to make the housing actually come to fruition? Since housing is important, I can't bring in a lot more jobs because I have nowhere to put our workforce.
Yeah,
And that's a lot of different places. We, same thing up in Hunter, we were talking about, they're bringing in more jobs for the ski lift. Where do you put them? Where do you put those
has the
workforce?
county made any progress on anything?
Well, the legislators are looking at that report seriously and, trying to figure out, where are we going to put our aging seniors? And then that'll open up housing for, first family housing, things like that. So there's definitely been lots of discussion of what the next steps are.
Because the report came out a year ago.
Well, workforce came out a year ago. Senior just came out a couple months ago. They made it
Okay.
public. they will support the IDA and, you know, what we are doing, as long as it's not, incentives to the end user. We're incentivizing the developer.
The site.
Right, the site, and it's for workforce, so, you know, you have two partners working full-time jobs. How do they make ends meet and how do they afford the rents in this area? And that's what we're looking at doing.
April, this is Maggie. I have a hard stop. Is there
Okay.
a vote that we're doing on housing, or are you just discussing?
Oh, we were just discussing it. I just wanted
Okay.
to make the board aware
Got
that
it.
I've been meeting with different developers. There's 3 on the table. I'll move on to Gateway Greene, because the updates for Gateway Greene really just include visitor center. The bids came in. The bids are good until September. We're waiting on final decisions from the legislatures whether they want to change anything in the big package. So I will present that to the board as soon as I hear back. All
Maggie,
water.
you need to run? You need to go? Sure.
Go on.
Sure. Okay, so that's a yes.
Okay, that's fine. No more, there's no other vote. I just want to make sure everybody's updated.
Okay.
So on the park itself, the road got deeded over to the county. The water and sewer lines have been tested. Same thing, final certification has to go to Department of Health and DEC. Delaware Engineering is handling that for me. There's like one more package. So final payments will go to Carroll and the Catskill projects, and we can close them out. And then we'll get reimbursed from the county on the Carroll project. That'll go through pilot. With the road, Central Hudson, the lines are all in. Yes, we're still waiting for Verizon to move their line over. You know, I don't know if anybody's seen on Facebook that we didn't plan this well, but we did. Verizon has known about this move. It's just on their timetable. So Stewart's is fine because they're still open across the street. Like I said, the tourism bid package are good till September. My stars will align. Everything will happen. The new Stewart's will open. We'll get the tourism visitor center built. And then the hotel, they're in the planning board stage. Couple reasons. There were different things that they had to work out with the town, but the Hilton changed their format. So they asked Catskill Lodging to update their plans since they're in the planning stage, which, so
Like
instead of
building
having like, yeah, it's like the footprint, you know, so it's a different footprint or different like plan, but it's
Yeah.
still the same nice hotel. I will be drafting a letter, maybe getting county support that we like the format or what it looks like in New Paltz. It's more, not Adirondack-y, but it's browns and rocks. The new one is more modernized looking. So if we want to stick with what we're doing at Gateway Greene, coming in
Yeah.
with the older format or the last format, the current format matches kind of the tourism center look, more Greene County
Yeah,
look. So as soon as I see the renderings, I can send them out to the board and you can let me know what your feelings are, but the other one's more blue and modern, and I'd like to stick with what we had kind of planned just for the facade.
Yep.
The footprint is up to whatever Hilton and Catskill Lodging decided to still have the conference center and the pool inside in the same number of rooms. It's just, it pushed us to August now for the planning board to approve the site plan because they had to update their footprint. So, but it's all happening. Still working on Home Depot, trying to get the land so we can put the digital sign closer to the exit. That might end up being just an easement if Home Depot doesn't want to do the boundary line adjustment. But like I said, I think everything will align, all the development, natural gas line, they're getting their permits to run up the street.
Sewage? You didn't touch that.
Okay, so for the hotel, we are working with, Renee and I and Delaware Engineering, we put in an application for a 270 application to get sewer hookup for the hotel.
Mhm.
We just got the application in. So the next step is to wait and see, you know, what the feedback is, what we need to do there. I think I mentioned at previous meetings, or maybe Renee also brought up, Delaware Engineering has been working with the town and village. There's, I think, 20 million in grants to work on whatever the next stages are, improvements there. Plus CHIPPY money will be coming in. So whatever improvements need to happen for future development, But the hotel should be able to hook up based on the last improvements, which included, I think, 330,000
Yeah.
gallons,
Yeah.
yeah, capacity.
The DEC was giving us capacity.
So what happened was DEC, former person in charge, all good, and then the person in charge now is just giving us a couple more hoops to jump through. And we're working on it.
Very thorough.
Yes, very thorough. It'll be fine.
Yes.
We'll get through.
I'm taking the temperature of the developer lately.
Catskill Lodging, I talked to him yesterday. He's actually on vacation. There was a screaming child in the background, so he's gonna call me back today. But he's on vacation. But he did give me a call, and he's the one that explained the footprint change and why they weren't on the schedule for July. They're gonna be on the schedule for August. And I'll send out the new rendering so we can decide how we wanna move forward, write a letter to Hilton Management about, the look.
Yeah.
I think it'll be beautiful, whatever they do. It'll be new, you'll see it from the throughway, exactly. It'll be a much
Come
better
on.
improvement.
See, the ghost in there with the.
And then, once again, once this is all, wrapped up, I can market a third site for the restaurant. I did do a couple layouts for sale signs, so we have some parcels still in Kalkberg and Green Business. So I'm gonna put up like 4x4 signs that say, what's available, shovel ready. So having some sign out there with people driving around might help. We're on a couple different shovel ready sites, but that
With,
leaves them
with
available.
that, should we be considering, marketing through a realtor?
We have talked in the past. It depends on if we want to pay commissions to a realtor. Like we marketed the Anderson parcel. Now we're keeping it because we think we actually can work on a walking path, some higher and best use for the Anderson parcel. But let me put up my for sale signs and see if we get any bites. But it'll be the 4 acres and 14 acres in Kalkberg. Then we have a 1.7 acre parcel right in front of Save-A-Lot. So with the new activity at Save-A-Lot, having a for sale sign on that triangular piece might bring in a small business. And Via Ravioli opened up across the street, so Fellini's doing great. Hunter Motor Coach in the back. I've seen buses coming in and out of there, so they're good. And the Dawadani's are working on marketing the other 20 acres.
As of this weekend, really not mowed in front of the city, that patch, it was mowed up in front of the bank.
Okay, so we have 3 different mowing companies, or well, actually probably more than that. I will talk to
Maybe
Save-A-Lot.
it's changed since the weekend. It was
They
just
are-
that week, so it was
yeah,
pretty
well-
kept.
On the burn, they did mow maybe last month.
But in front of the fence, between 9W and the fence.
Oh, no, that should be. I'll check it again, but
I'll get my
the
truck.
Dawadani's, the Dawadani's own the 20 acres. The bank takes care of their parcel, and then we take care of the land that we own. So I will talk
Bank looked
to,
fine
yeah.
up there.
yep, the bank always looks beautiful. So once development starts, it'll probably be better maintained, but now that it's vacant, I know that they were planning on brush hogging the 20 acres, so it'll probably all happen all at the same time. Like we own the 4 and the 14 acres in front of Kalkberg, so we mow in front of the fence there. But since the Dawadani's own the 20 acres, that's their responsibility, but I follow up with them.
Given all that we've got going on, is there any urgency related to selling those parcels? I mean, do we feel like we need to?
They've just been on the books. I did have a couple people, inquire about them. Nothing came to fruition. So I feel if I put a for sale sign out there, maybe we'll get more nibbles, that people know that they're
Right,
just not pretty empty grass acres.
right, okay.
Because they're in front of Serta and Empire Merchants North, and they've been vacant since 2008 when we built the Empire Merchants North. So. Any other land or busy questions?
Well, I just, think that possibly having a little assistance, signs will go certain amount
Right.
because of, the traffic count, but, the right eyes gotta see them.
Yep.
So, Paul, is there without hiring a direct realtor, is there another approach that could be that you would pay a seller's premium? So in other words, you bring us the account, we'll pay X amount of percent.
It sometimes works, you gotta get the right broker who is really kind of repping a retail, a food retail establishment. There are people to do that. What people do, sometimes they go to what's called the ICSC convention, which is the International Council of Shopping Centers, and they have tenant reps there, so you can set up meetings. You gotta get the right type of person, so, that kind of sits next to a hotel, so that's the question. Sometimes the hotel guy will know some people. It's a question of it. So I'm not dodging the question, but I'm just saying, I think it's,
I was really referring to the ones up here that she's referring to, where she wants to put some signs up, where we could pay a buyer's, or seller's commission, to any realtor.
If a realtor
brings us-
approaches me, I can bring it to the board. If a realtor says, oh, we have somebody you wanna
I mean,
work
I think
together.
I would put out to some of the brokers like Dan Slaughter's,
Guys, I'm just gonna make a
or
motion. to
CBRE.
adjourn. Fred's gotta run, but we can continue formal talk.
I'd say we'll pay you a
Motion to
commission.
adjourn.
But, you know, she made a
8:45,
motion.
Brian,
Fred,
Fred.
Yeah, exactly.